and welcome back to our channel. Yep.
Hi, everybody.
We're sorry about being late. We had some technical difficulties, but we are here and we are ready to talk to you guys about Lake Chapala versus Ensenada. And so, let's see. Maybe we should wait for more people to start. No.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about Chapala and Ensenada. The reason why we're going to be talking about these two places is because you have a lot of different people wanting to move to these two areas. These are very, very popular areas, and for good reason. So let's start talking first about, welcome to everybody who's here, by the way. Let's start talking first about why people would move to, how about Ensenada? How about we start with that? Do you want to talk about that? Some of the reasons?
Okay. So some reason people may want to move to Ensenada is number one is the weather. So when you compare Lake Chapala to Ensenada, and of course everybody's preferences are different, but I personally found that the weather to be more enjoyable and much more comfortable in Ensenada than Lake Chapala. So as if those of you who may not be familiar with the central part of Mexico right now, it's been pretty hot, and they say that April, May, and June are like the hottest months, but like in Ensenada, it doesn't get like typically as hot as it does now. So like all year round, from what we've been told by people, is that the weather is pretty much the same. So it's like in the 60s and maybe like 70 it'll get to, but it's pretty comfortable.
Yeah, so you got a couple places that expats usually flock to. All of these places are going to be relatively expensive. That's one of them is going to be Ensenada, Rosarito, Tijuana. Those would be considered more like border places. You're also going to have San Miguel because that has a very established expat community. You're also going to have all the towns, well, no, not all the towns, but three big towns around the Lake Chapala area. That's going to be Ajijic. That's going to be Ajijic, Chapala, and what's the third one? And Jocotepec. Those are the three big ones now, both over by that lake. And so all these places are already set up for expats. What would really determine you living in more of like a central place in Mexico, which is like maybe San Miguel, maybe around the Lake Chapala area in any of those towns we mentioned, Puerto Vallarta, right? That's another one. All those places that I just mentioned, they get brutally hot. Now, Chapala, Ajijic, anything around the lake over there, lakeside, those places didn't used to get hot. Those places did not used to be brutally hot. Now, it seems over the last 5 years or so, things are changing over there. So many people, even though they love the area, are like, well, this isn't what we signed up for, because originally when we came, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it used to be really nice here as far as the weather. Now, you got like 3 months out of the year that might be pretty brutal, like in the 90s and things like that, maybe close to 100 degrees. And the rest of the year, you might be in the 80s, or maybe, upper 80s, between 80 and 85, and things like that. During the rainy season, it might cool down a little bit, but it's kind of up there in the temperature throughout the entire year to a very large degree. So many people want to move to the Tijuana area, Rosarito area, Ensenada area. Those areas are closer to the border. The weather year-round is very, very good. Hey, Michael, how you doing, bro? Hope everything's good, man. Nice to talk to you, bro. Thanks for joining the live. So the areas that we're talking about over there by the border cities, the weather is great year-round. Why? You guys ever been to San Francisco? San Francisco is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's known for its weather. It has the same weather.
San Diego.
San Diego, not San Francisco. Forgive me. San Diego. San Diego has the same weather as all the places I just mentioned, Rosarito, Tijuana. That's part of California. All those places are part of California. It's Baja California. So you're gonna have fantastic weather. Many people move to these areas for the weather. And that's a huge, huge deal. Because if you can't deal with heat, and maybe you want to be close to the United States, those would be the places. You can literally drive from these areas into California, into the United States. You can drive through, you can walk through, and all of that. Hey, Skip, welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
how are you?
Good to see you. Happy to have you here.
Very good.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
So it's a very convenient location as far as if you want to be in the United States. Being in Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, you can get there. You can get yourself a global entry pass or a Sentry pass, or you can get yourself a medical pass. You can get yourself these passes, and don't have to wait in line, and you just get right through the border. Whereas if you're over here in Lakeside, it is convenient that you are close to Guadalajara Airport, but then again, you're gonna have to get there a few hours early. You're gonna have to be, depending on where in the U.S. you're coming from. Let's say going back to New York, it might be a 5-6 hour flight, in addition to the 3 hours that you're getting having to wait. So that's already 8 hours of your day. Not even counting actually getting off the plane, getting your luggage, all that stuff. So it's about 8.5 hours total, at least, to just get somewhere, depending on where in the United States you are. Unless you're going to Texas, but even if you're going to Texas, it's like a 12-hour drive, Versus you could just be in Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, and get there in a few hours, and it's easier.
Yeah, so we've lived in both areas, and we really enjoyed very much living on the coast near the Pacific Ocean over by Ensenada. We spent a month over in Ensenada. Now we traveled throughout Rosarito, Tijuana. We did some videos on that if you guys want to see those videos. But it was a great time, and that's because every day is just cool and breezy, hardly any humidity whatsoever. And so if weather's a big deal for you, or access to the United States is a big deal, those might be the places. Now, like Brittany mentioned, if you're over in the Lakeside area, you have Guadalajara, which is a huge deal. Don't get me wrong. The quality of life, in my opinion, other than the weather, is better in central Mexico. That's my opinion. You're gonna have better food. You're gonna have more historical things. So like, for example, more Guadalajara. It's a huge historic city. It has so much access to great shopping, great food, so much variety. The food in Jalisco in general, which is the state that Lake Chapala is located, where Guadalajara is, where Chapala is, where Ajijic is, Jocotepec. Excellent food. Excellent food. So our experiences outside, closer to the border, is the food is not as good.
Keep in mind though, if you do like fish, it may be better for you. They do have fresh ceviche. I tried. I had marlin quesadilla, like that. I mean, they have ceviche here, but I mean, you're getting it like fresh from the ocean. Like you're getting it from an ocean. So just keep that in mind too. If you're more like when Joe says the food's better, if you're more like into like different kind of like tacos, like if, for example, I've noticed the tacos are here in this area. Central Mexico are better. I enjoyed them more than in that area. But I mean, I didn't go to every single taco place, but generally the food is better here. And you have more options generally, except for Tijuana, I think.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on Tijuana. A lot of people are scared to move to Tijuana, but there's also a lot of people who are moving to Tijuana. And after our trip to Tijuana, I would totally tell someone to move there. I mean, I would move there. If I wanted to be in a place that's close to the United States, maybe for like work or just easy access to the United States, I would move there. Should you be scared of Tijuana? Well, it's one of the most dangerous cities in the world, according to statistics. But you also have to keep in mind, those statistics are bringing illegal activity into the equation. So if you go to Tijuana and you're going there just to live a normal life and you're not looking for bad things, bad problems, you can have a great life there. You can live in a great area over there for like $500 a month, like US dollars a month, $600 a month. And the more higher you go, the better quality of life you're gonna get. You know, I'm talking about like a 2-bedroom apartment for like $600 a month. You're living near California on the US side. So very, very cool stuff. Again, you live by the beach over there, right? Really, really beautiful. Nice and breezy all the time, beautiful views all the time. One of the biggest things that would make me want to move there personally would be essentially the weather. That's really it. But as far as like a better quality of life, in my opinion, I would say for me, in my personal opinion, you get a better quality of life in Mexico. It's going to be more Mexican, the more centered to the Mexico that you're in. It's going to be more Mexican, less foreigners. Another reason why the lakeside area is very popular, Puerto Vallarta is very popular, lakeside area is very popular, San Miguel is very popular, is because expats want to go where there's a huge expat presence. We noticed that when we were in all these areas that I just mentioned, they have more of an expat community.
Mm-hmm.
It's less touristic than like, you know, Rosarito or something like that. More of an expat community where people aren't coming for vacations. They're going there to live and like live for a long time. So that's another thing that I would mention.
Yeah, like for example, like when you like over here in the lakeside area, like in Ajijic, more Ajijic, I would say. You go into Ajijic, and some a little bit in Chapala too, in this area. If you don't speak Spanish, the Mexicans are used to it, I would say, more in this area. When you go over to Baja California, it's totally different. Like you are back in Mexico. Like you feel like you're more in Mexico, even though maybe it doesn't have it's not colonial to me. Like I didn't see too many foreigners, like you're saying. Like I didn't. People were speaking Spanish, and it can be now that could be good because is it as soft as a landing as Lake Chapala area? No, Lake Chapala area can be much more softer landing if you're just coming here. Maybe you're not used to Mexico. Maybe you're not fluent yet in Spanish, and you're just trying to have, like Joe was saying, a community. And this would probably be a better place for you if you want a softer landing in terms of the language and even the culture. I would say, depending on where you are, it could be easier. Something that we did like over in Baja California was that they did have a lot of the stores that we do like. They had a Home Depot, they had they have Walmart here, but there's only like one. They had like more stores that we like, more big box stores. Whereas if you're in Lake Chapala, you have to go all the way to Guadalajara, for example, to go to, let's say, a Home Depot if you want to get something. So it can be more convenient depending on what your lifestyle is. I've noticed that a lot of the I'm going to call them expats, foreigners here typically are okay with not having those conveniences. They're okay with it. So if you're someone who wants community, you don't want to be with American chains, a lot of American chains, I would say, and you want a very calm life, I would say that this is a very good area for you.
Yeah, so it really comes down to your goals and honestly the weather. That's really a huge deal. The weather's like a huge deal. Some people are leaving their country to come here to Mexico to find good weather year round. Unfortunately, the Chapala and Ajijic area, it doesn't have that anymore. It used to. So now that's changed. And even the locals are like, completely like, what's going on? This is crazy. Is this normal? Is this normal now? So that's what a lot of people say. And so in that respect, you're totally you're getting a different quality of life in that respect if you move to like a cooler climate. How about we hit some comments?
Okay.
You wanna do that? Sorry guys, if we're not trying to miss your comments, we're gonna look at them right now. Again, we wanted to bring all this stuff up because these are some popular destinations that people want to go to, and so this might help you
Buenos
guys.
tardes, William Stoneman. Hello.
Skip, yeah. What do you think about the beard, bro? You like it?
For when Mazatlan?
William Stoneman, welcome. Welcome, amigo. And Andy McCarthy, it gets hotter in July. Oh boy.
We actually we were here in July, last July.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I remember it being so hot I was trying to go into the Oxos, or the Oxos as they say, to stay cool, because those have air conditioning typically. It was brutal.
Yeah. It gets hotter in July. Skip. So the winner is Lake Chapala. Well, yeah, it depends on your goals. Oh, and Skip, you asked about Mazatlan. Yeah, that's on the radar. We actually just got a Valaris V Pass.
A Valaris annual pass.
Annual
Different than
pass?
the V-Pass.
Yeah, we got an annual pass, so we can hop on flights for super cheap, and so that's on the list. So don't worry, we'll definitely get there. Believe me, Brittany's been talking about that. Yeah, so it really depends on what you like. Like the lakeside area is super chill. I tell this to people: lakeside is turnkey. If you're a foreigner who wants to move to Mexico and not really be in Mexico, because you can't really call lakeside too much like most of Mexico, it's totally unique. You can move to the Chapala and Ajijic area with almost no growing pains. You'll have to deal with a slight culture shock, but I mean, when compared to moving anywhere in central Mexico, oh, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost turnkey. So if you want like almost zero headaches, that's the place. If you move to another area, like, you know, like we were talking about Ensenada, for example, there'll be some more growing pains. People certainly speak English, but it's just not set up. They haven't conformed to the American or foreigner culture there yet as much, no. So in a town like, you know, near Lakeside, they've conformed. They've like integrated the foreigners into the culture to a super ridiculously large degree. The only thing that would kill you if you move to an area like that would be the weather, if you can't deal with hot weather.
Another difference I've noticed between, I'm going to call it Baja California, because it's the three main cities I would say in Baja California. Of course, there's more, but Ensenada is pretty huge, actually. We looked at a map and our friend was showing it's huge. So Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, those are the big three in Baja California. And of course, it's Tecate, but that, you know, there's Mexicali also. But anyway, we're just going to call them Tijuana, Rosarito, and Ensenada. Just talk about those areas, because we've been to those areas, we can speak about those areas. The general vibe I was feeling was that it was more, I felt more like people were more welcoming here, like more friendly, as opposed to that area. I'm not saying every single person was unfriendly, but I felt definitely like it was, people were like over there saying like, over here like, oh, saying like, oh, buenos dias. People will say over here in Lake Chapala, oh, like, buenos dias, buenas tardes. You know, they'll greet you. They're smiling. And not to say that it's not like that, but I noticed a different vibe over there.
Yeah, people, it was very touristic in Rosarito. It was pretty touristic in Tijuana, but it was a different type of tourism. And in Ensenada, it was hardly, when compared to the other two places, hardly any like foreigner tourism. It was Mexican tourism, which was great. And a lot of the people that we met were very, very nice, but people seem to, in general, in those other areas in Baja California, have more of a cold demeanor when compared to central Mexico. That's what Brittany's saying, and that's true. Yeah, that's what I noticed as well. But it's certainly not as cold as like a place like San Luis Potosi. We literally just had our friend from San Luis visit us, and he's like, "Wow, I can't believe it! I'm back in Mexico. People are saying hi to me again. People are saying Buenas tardes, buen dia." And it's like, yeah, bro, you've been in San Luis. You know, they're cold there. I mean, they're like, I don't even know. They're on another level. They got their own type of like culture there. And it's not a warm one when compared to like most of central Mexico and Mexico in general. It's very different.
You wanted to comment?
We're just gonna hit those comments again. By the way, guys, if I look like, off today, I'm totally off. I'm really tired. I haven't been sleeping. It's been a long day, so sorry about that. Just checking the chat. Michael, cousin Michael, actually, by the way. How's the weather over there? Does it get really hot in Mexico? Hey, Michael, that's what we're talking about, bro. So in Baja, Mexico's pretty big. So in Baja California, we're comparing right now central Mexico, like the middle of Mexico, to the outer Mexico, Baja California. Baja California has amazing weather, bro. Amazing weather. Like you're never gonna want to leave if you go there for the weather when compared to central Mexico. Central Mexico in general, whether it's Puerto Vallarta, whether it's the lakeside area, whether it's San Miguel, all those places, very hot for a good portion of the year. So yeah, it can totally get hot in Mexico, but then you got places in Mexico where it literally snows.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. When we were talking to one of our drivers when we were going to La Bufadora, and he was telling us that if you go a few hours south, not north, south from Ensenada, him and his family, they have to go where it snows sometimes, and you can go like skiing, you can go snowboarding, you can do all these fun things. So that's pretty cool. And then it's interesting because there's Mexicali, which we haven't been to, but Mexicali is very looks like Mexicali if you say it like in English. Very hot, very, very hot. But so you have that diversity in climate in Baja California. But if we're talking about the three. Yeah, the climate in Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, I personally prefer the climate over there. Personally, me, because I struggle with heat. So for someone like me, the climate is more, I can function more over there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, waking up near the beach, you smell the beach air every single day, and you got the cool breezes every single day. I mean,
I noticed it was cooler in Rosarito than Ensenada too.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let's check that chat again. Okay, Skip. I'll recommend you visit Mazatlan in mid-February for Carnival. The heat starts in June. Thank you so much for that info. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the right time. It does. Skip. Actually, I was waiting the vlogs, and when I see a new one, I was happy. Oh, I'm so glad.
Thank you.
I'm really happy. Yeah, we haven't been as productive on YouTube as we want to be, just because we're dealing with, life outside of the internet. It's just, it's been great though. Like for me, anyway. I know Brittany does miss the United States like all the time because she likes, knows the language there, and for her the shopping is better there, I guess, or whatever. But living in Mexico is like living in a dream to me, because I feel like living in Mexico has given me everything I've ever wanted in life. Genuinely, so far it's pretty much been like that. Like the people are great, the food is great. Like this is like living in Mexico when you're in an area that's Mexican. San Luis, I can't say is like Mexico. I can't It's not like Mexico because the people are just like cold for the most part. But living in Mexico, you're living around decent people. They say hi to you. You know, you have neighbors who come to your door and they'll like talk to you. I mean, when was the last time you talked to your neighbor? You know what I'm saying? I guess it depends on where you live in the United States, but I mean, man, it's great. The food is good. You can find some amazing Mexican restaurants that you could fill the table up for like a couple of dollars with amazing food. Man, it's just been amazing. You wake up and the birds are chirping and it's sunny all the time. It's great.
And that's not, when we say the food is better in Central Mexico, I want to make it clear that we did actually find some good places in over there. So it's not like all doom and gloom as far as the food goes. But like for example, they did have a really good, I think it was Japanese you went to. That was pretty good by the Ensenada Central. That was really good. I had lobster in Rosarito. It was good. And I had, oh my word, we'll be putting out the video very soon. These tortillas I had, they were like the best homemade tortillas. And
where is this?
This was at that when I got the lobster in Rosarito. Wow, really good, really good. And so it's kind of known like Rosarito's like for the seafood, like the lobster. If you eat like things like that, if you are vegan like Joe, not the best place, but you know they'll have some vegan options. Some places.
Listen, man, we were going around Rosarito. We were going around Ensenada. Tijuana had from the food that we ate there was so good, man. But Rosarito and Ensenada, I wasn't feeling it that much because like you go to a place like normally I'll get like tacos and vegetables, right? That's pretty normal. I'll get like potatoes, I'll get mushrooms, I'll get onions, you know, carrots and stuff like that. In these areas, like they didn't have them in Baja. They didn't have that stuff, at least from what we experienced, right? So that was like really depressing to me. Like, how do you not have vegetables? How do you not have mushrooms? You only have fish? And then when I want vegetables, they'll just give me like a salad. I don't want a salad, bro. I want some vegetables in a taco, in a tortilla with some hot sauce. And it was not the same Mexican food as you get in Central Mexico. So for me, yeah, I was not feeling it. Like the quality, like I said, the quality of life for me, someone like me, better in Central Mexico because you're getting amazing food, you're getting incredible people, you're getting beautiful sun all the time, but you're also getting the heat when it gets hot. So if I had to live in Baja California, I would miss the food from Central Mexico. I would miss it for sure. Brittany, maybe not. I would. Totally.
I mean, when I was there, I was missing like my places that I go to over here. But I will say this: they do have adobada. It's pretty big. I've noticed in that area, adobada tacos. And over here, it's more like pastor. I mean, they have pastor there too, but and the chorizo. I didn't like the chorizo so much, but I like chorizo over here. But yeah, so the adobada was probably my favorite kind of taco that I did get over there. I want to talk to you guys about the roads because some people might think that when you go over there, it's just gonna be the roads are horrible because of the potholes.
Over there is where?
Over there, as far as like Ensenada and things like that. I want to talk about the roads. So if we were to compare, let's talk about Lakeside first. If you go to Ajijic, you're going to have cobblestone roads that you just can't get around that. It's just cobblestone. And unless you're on the carretera. But when you go on the side streets, it's the cobblestone roads. When you're in Chapala, they have cobblestone.
Yeah, they do.
So they have cobblestone a little bit. Now, Ensenada, the funny thing about that was the sidewalks had like topes. That was really funny because we're used to in Mexico with the topes being on the road, but the topes were on the sidewalk. So like you would be walking and there's literally a tope. But those of you who don't know what a tope is, it's a speed bump. But there's like speed bumps on the sidewalk. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they're just making up for the road. But yeah, I mean there was a few topes, but hardly not at all like over here where there's like I call them mountains. They're so big.
Yeah, so when you're in central Mexico, in case for anybody who doesn't know what a tope is, it's a speed bump. So a tope is essentially a speed bump. It's gonna force you to stop. So if there's a tope, no one's gonna T-bone you at a stop sign because they are forced to stop. They cannot go fast. And so that's great, right? That's saving lives essentially. It's also tearing up your car. And it can be very annoying to drive over. You're finding those more in central Mexico as opposed to Baja, right? So there's good and bad about both. There's good and bad about both areas. You got less topes in like the Baja area. The streets are actually more torn up though, like as far as potholes.
We didn't really find that though. Sorry.
In central Mexico, you, at least over in like the lakeside area, you're finding more cobblestone streets, which can be tough on your car, and you have really big topes. When we were in Ensenada, we lived in a place called Punta Banda, and there were literally topes on the sidewalk, like Brittany said. So like you're literally walking like this, and it made no sense. We were like mind blown. Like it made walking a real chore because you're walking like this. Like you need a car. You need a car when you're in the Ensenada area, Rosarito, or essentially you're just taking, public transportation or Ubers. But to walk to things, it can be frustrating over there.
I didn't find it too frustrating. I just thought it was kind of interesting they had the topes because it's not like in Guanajuato, for example, when you're going up these narrow like streets, like up a hill or something down. It wasn't like Guanajuato at all, like Guanajuato City.
No, it's different.
It was different. It actually felt kind of flat, but it was just they had the topes. Like to me, I noticed it seemed like you're going like this, and the sidewalks weren't the best, but they weren't the worst. Like in Morelia, I think the sidewalks are pretty like you had to like watch where you're going because you could fall down like a hole and things like that. You're in Mexico, you need to watch where you're going, regardless. But I want to go back to what Joe was talking about, the Ubers. Something that was pretty nice about Ensenada is that they have Didi. And if you're coming to Lakeside, you're taking private drivers. And then you got to coordinate with the private driver and pick me up here, do over here, this and that. Or maybe like taxi if you can get one. Or an Uber if you can get one that's coming. But over there, it was just easier if you're just staying around like the Centro and just the main part. Not talking about going what I call the out there part of Ensenada, but if you're just going in the main part, via Dorado or Punta Bandas, things like that, you just take the DD and you're fine.
So I just want to say two things. One, we're talking about all these things. Somebody watching this might be like, why are you talking about all these specific things? We're talking about these things because we get asked about these things. People ask, like, these are the things that will help you guys know if you want to move here. These small things. So that's why we're talking about all these specific things. The weather, the street condition. We literally know a couple who moved out of Ensenada because they found the streets to be too annoying to drive on, okay? So that's why we're bringing this up, all right? So that's number one. Number two, back to the public transportation. If you move to the lakeside area and you don't have a car, it's a big deal, you're gonna be taking cabs or private drivers, meaning you get a card from somebody, you'd be like, hey, do you know who could drive me around? Sure, I got this guy's card, call him, he's great. You're gonna be spending more money that way. You're gonna be spending a ton of money getting around if you're taking cabs or private drivers. The reason why is because Uber, you might not like Uber, you might not like Didi, you might not like any of the ride-share apps, but let me tell you something. Those ride-share apps are keeping things competitive and keeping things honest. Keeping things honest. If you move to Lakeside and you're taking those cabs and you're taking those private drivers, you're getting charged whatever they want to charge you. Okay? So in Ensenada, they have private. They have rideshare apps. They have, Uber and things like that. They're forced to be honest. You're getting around Ensenada, you're going like 10 miles for like $5 in an Uber or in a Didi. You go to Chapala, Ajijic, Hocotepec, they don't have Uber, they don't have Didi, they don't have those apps. And so there's nothing to keep the drivers honest. Nothing. They'll charge you whatever they want. If you don't speak Spanish, that's even worse for you, okay? So very inconvenient. Rosarito, over near Ensenada. We had to go for like a 10-minute drive. This guy charged us like, I think it was close to like $50 or something. It was very expensive. He didn't have a meter in his cab. He didn't have a meter. He charged us whatever he wanted. At the end of the trip, I said, okay, ¿cuánto? How much? He went, and he saw our Spanish sucked. And he knew that they didn't have rideshare apps in all of Rosarito. He charged us what he wanted. And I told him, I said, muy caro, ¿por qué? Why is it so expensive? He just started laughing. So I gave him what I had. I was like, here, take this. Whatever I had. And he's like, está bien. It's okay. I gave him close to what he asked for because I'm not going to stiff the guy, but he literally took all the money we had. So you need to understand that you're going to be getting ripped off if you move to a place that they don't have those apps. I know a lot of people are like, oh, go local, go local. Yeah, go local and get screwed a lot, okay? So you'll start appreciating Uber. You'll start appreciating Didi when you're getting charged $40 to go 4 blocks. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, and like the thing was about that was that we were kind of at his mercy because we were walking on this dusty road and there was this other couple that was looking for a taxi. Like it was really rough out there, and I was getting pretty nervous. I'm like, I don't know when we're gonna find a taxi, when the next one will show up, because it's not like a legit taxi stand, right? It was just kind of like, oh, have fun, like go find.
You literally stand
someone.
like this. Like you stand on the road
scary.
like this.
So my suggestion to anybody who's planning on taking a trip to Rosarito, you better either rent a car, bring your car, or have some sort of friend that you're traveling with that will, somebody you trust, that will help you around.
If you go to Ensenada, if you go to Rosarito, you must have a car. You must. You have to have a car. There's no question. We spoke to so many people over there, and they're like, yeah, we all have cars. Yeah, we don't take any cabs. And we're like, well, what are we supposed to do? Because we don't have a car. That whole trip, whenever we were in Rosarito, it was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Now you go to Tijuana or you go to Ensenada, you're good. You don't need a car. Save the $20,000, guys. Keep it in the bank because you're driving all around the entire city for like $4. You know what I'm saying?
Now I want to preface that with, if you're going to like a La Bufadora or somewhere like that,
might be $5.
you might. Well, you can get it right there, but you may have a hard time getting it right back. Like for example, if you're going to the wine country, like over there in Valle de what is it called? Guadalupe?
Yeah.
Valle de Guadalupe.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to those areas where it's the out there part, talking about like 40 minutes out, 30 minutes out,
you'll
north,
get there.
south, you can get there, but you need to make sure that you have a way to get back.
Right.
Because we went to some places where we were like, how are we going to get back? So that's why we had to take like private driver, for example, to certain places to get to those out there parts. But if you're just planning on coming to like the Centro area and Malecon and the main, I've called the main part, like the Costco, the Walmart, the whatever, you're going to be fine taking Didi, taking Uber. I would say take Didi because it's cheaper than Uber, but you'll be fine. You can get around. But if you want to go to the out there part, you better plan those trips very carefully because you do not want to get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, maybe in that case, get a private driver.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can get private drivers in Ensenada and Tijuana. You get private drivers anywhere. And they're very affordable when you're using them once in a while. You know, they're affordable. You could do it. But as a whole, you don't need a car. You don't need to own a car in Ensenada, which is great, but you're gonna need to own a car in Lakeside unless you plan on taking the public transit.
The bus.
You know,
There's
the
a bus.
the packed buses. That's fine if you want to do that. Or you know, you're at the mercy of a cab or a private driver
Friends.
or friends. Yeah. So those are huge
Yeah.
deals, man. Like
Yeah.
I was telling Brittany, if we lived in Ensenada, I would totally sell our car, or at least keep the car for like an off day that we want to drive it,
Like
and
go
then
to California or something.
yeah, drive to California, and then I would totally just get around using the ride apps because they were great.
And I want to talk about that actually. And a nice thing. Now we did not take the bus, but because the DD was so cheap, we just decided.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to like, let's say, go to the airport from Ensenada, there's something called the ABC bus. It's probably pronounced ABC in Spanish, but in English, ABC bus. And so that bus, it's very cheap, very affordable. It'll take you it takes about 2 hours to get to the airport from Ensenada, depending of course on where you are. It could be 2.5 if you're down by La Bofadora, but and it'll be what, for like two of us, like $30? I think
Yeah.
it would have been like $30 for two
Yeah.
of us. Which is really good because over here in Lakeside, if I want to go just 35 minutes to the airport to Guadalajara, it's $30.
Right.
So 2 hours versus 35 minutes, same cost. So it's for two people. So it's like, yeah, that's pretty affordable. And you could get even you could even get to the U.S. without having a car. Actually, you could get to California. You could take the ABC bus to Tijuana, and then you could just walk. They have a walking bridge. You can walk right into to the United States, and then just get a cab or something when you get to the other side, or have a friend pick you up or something.
Yeah.
So you can. There are other ways that you can get there. I mean, you cross the border, the San Ysidro Tijuana border, and you may see people on like motorcycles or even bicycles maybe. Like there's so many different ways that you can cross into without having a car. So it's definitely easier. Now Tijuana, to get around, we have heard the traffic was very bad in Tijuana. In fact, our tour guide told us, let's go on Sunday because the traffic will be less. And it's true. If you go on Sunday, if you're visiting Tijuana, like just a day trip or something, I recommend you go on a Sunday because apparently it's very bad with the traffic, and you know it's a big city. But Tijuana, they have combis. They have those like
Yeah.
collective buses, so you can get around. Here in Lakeside, I have never seen a combi. I don't think I've seen one.
I don't know.
I've never seen one. If you've seen one in Lakeside, let us know in the comments. In Morelia, they have them. And most parts of Mexico that we've been to, they've had them. But
It's
I
like
haven't
it's like the
seen them here.
equivalent to a dollar van.
Yeah,
you know,
they
like
have
in the United States, they have the dollar vans, the dollar cabs. That's what the equivalent of a combi is to that. You know.
our friend has a car, and he said sometimes they'll just take the combi around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's hit those comments. Let's see what we got. All right. Actually, I was okay. We read
I'm
that.
not doing the Baja California.
Andy McCarthy. I meant the weather in Baja California gets hot in July through September. Well, Andy, we spoke to lots of people. We spoke to the cab drivers, both in Spanish and English. We probably, I want to say, spoke to a good 70 people. I'm gonna round it to about 70 people between cab drivers, between people we met, friends that we have over there, and they all said that sure, in the summer it'll get a little bit hotter, but they said we say here in these areas that we have no seasons. The weather never changes. Like maybe it'll get a tad hotter.
Yeah, we've heard July is the hot season, but it doesn't really get like that hot.
We've heard July is the hottest,
Yeah.
right? But that it hardly changes. So whether that's true or not, I mean, maybe you're speaking from more experience, but I don't know why like 70 people or so would have told us the same thing over and over, that it's amazing weather year round, like every second of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for letting us know that.
So like at nighttime, it gets chilly. I mean, we're from New York, so it's not like oh my goodness, it's so cold, I'm gonna like freeze. But like it's like in the 50s, and we did not use a heater or air conditioning our whole time there. We were only there for like a month, but that's pretty good. We didn't use a heater or air conditioning. Versus here, we've got fans on, I've got air conditioning on. It's like a whole, it's like a whole thing going on over there. So, it might save you on utilities.
Yeah, it might. It might save you on utilities over there in the Baja area.
Something I want to talk about too is people are wondering about our friends too. Oh, let's reset. The one that used to be.
Skip, it's funny that the one is used to the heat, which even I like to sweat, but not that much. But someone who comes from the cold is more difficult. I'm sorry, my friend. I don't really understand I think you're making a comparison between us and you, but I don't really understand the comparison. But there's no, either way, there's no, I don't know, man. There's like no way to explain human beings. Everybody's so different.
Something that people want to know is like, oh, is it cheaper to rent in Ensenada, for example, or Rosarito versus Lakeside? That's kind of a hard question to answer because, of course, you can find deals wherever you go. It depends. You really have to look for things. I would say generally speaking, from what the little that we have seen from looking at the place, we have looked at some places, we haven't looked at like hundreds of places, but over there, but we looked at a good number. The rentals can be more expensive than even Lakeside, I would say, but that's not to say you can't get a good deal. You can rent a place. I was in a place that you can rent that said for 8,000 pesos, doesn't include any utilities, but you're like 2 blocks from the beach, right by the beach. It's a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
You just put the refrigerator and the stove and oven. That's another thing I've noticed too about that area. For some reason, not all places have stoves and ovens. It's kind of interesting. Versus you come to Lakeside, like Joe was saying, it's a softer landing. A lot of the places here are furnished. So if you just want to like move here, take your suitcase from the U.S. and come right here and settle down, then you can do that here. Yeah. Over there, yes, you can rent rental. Of course, you can find something. Furnished to rent, but it may be a little bit more harder to find something in your price point.
Yeah, don't worry, Skip. We know, bro. We know Google Translate. It's definitely not good all the time. Entiendo, mi amigo. Gracias. Gracias por tu paciencia, mi hermano. But yeah, so like it's turnkey in Lakeside. It's turnkey. If you don't want to deal with headaches, or you want to deal with a lot less headaches, because there'll always be headaches moving to another country, it's the Lakeside area. That's it. That's why people come. That's why people. There's no two way. I was just talking to some foreigners today, and they were like, yeah, it's really hot here, but it's still a great area, and there's lots of foreigners, and it's very convenient. It has like what they call the American Legion, which is like essentially a foreigners club, where everybody hangs out and they're all foreigners. You find that stuff. You find that community in the Chapala area, not Chapala area, Lakeside area, which encompasses Chapala, Ajijic, and you find that stuff, So it depends on your goals. Do you want community? Do you mind the heat? Do you want to travel outside of living in central Mexico throughout the year when it gets hot? Like, what do you want to do? But these are such popular areas for foreigners that's why we're making this video again. Hanging out with Nay. Hi, welcome. Why do I recognize that? Maybe I don't recognize it. I don't know who that is, but I feel like I recognize your face. Welcome, hanging out with Nay. I don't know if I know you. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. It's hard to tell with the tiny picture. Hola.
Hi.
Bienvenidos. But yeah, so that's it. Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns about any of the places that we've mentioned or anything that we've been saying? Hopefully we're kind of clear on what we were saying. It's so different and hard to compare different areas. just because there's so many facets to every area. Every town, every city, every state is like a diamond, and there's so many different facets. So it's difficult to compare and contrast orange to orange, apples to apples, but we're trying our best for you guys who are interested in maybe moving to Mexico. So let us know if you got any questions or anything like that. Did you have anything else you wanted to
So
discuss?
another thing is that oh my goodness. Yeah. So long story short, another good thing about being lakeside is if you want to like travel to see more states, you can just pick up and drive. That could be a good thing. That could be. Would you say that Michoacan is your favorite state?
Yeah.
It has the best food.
Yeah.
It's got beautiful trees.
In case the viewers who are rewatching this didn't see that comment, the comment was from Skip, and Skip says, so would you say that Michoacan is your favorite state? I would say yes, because I feel like it's very colonial.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the food is incredible. In fact, let me tell you something. Over in the lakeside area, I'm going to give them a shout out, even though I shouldn't be giving them a shout out, okay? Because I want to keep it all to myself, but I'm not going to do that to them. The best restaurant in the entire lakeside area is run by a family from Michoacan, from La Piedad. It's called El Rinconcito. It's the best restaurant in all of the lakeside area. There's no question. If you want good, authentic Mexican food, the food ain't coming from Jalisco, it's coming from Michoacan because the family's from there. And so, yes, the best food, amazing people in Michoacan.
Yeah,
really good people. Like, you'll be walking down the street and they'll see you and they'll just smile at you. And it's crazy because that's one of the most statistically dangerous states. But at the same time, what are you going there for? Are you looking to get involved with illegal things? You have to remember, AMLO said something. AMLO, the previous president of Mexico?
I think he's the current president still.
Is he still current?
He's still
Okay,
current.
so AMLO, the current or previous president, whatever, it's 2024. President of Mexico, he made a statement that I believe I'm probably one of the few people who actually understood what he was saying. A reporter said to him something along the lines of, why is it so violent in Mexico? Like a Mexican reporter asked him that. Why is it so violent? And he said something along the lines of, violent? There might be a lot of homicides, but it's not violent. And so if you don't understand what he's saying, you're gonna, Skip says that in December we'll be changing president. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Skip. So he says, yeah, there might be a lot of homicides, but there's not a lot of violence. And so anybody who doesn't understand what he's saying is going to think, this guy's out of his mind. What's he talking about? There's a lot of homicides, there's a lot of murders, but there's not a lot of violence. Well, what he's talking about is that in Mexico, when there's violence, it's actually targeted violence. As a whole, most of the time, Mexico is very peaceful, but you have targeted violence, meaning like people doing illegal stuff are hurting other people doing illegal stuff. You got cartel activity, you have gang violence, but as a whole, it's not violent. Now, in contrast, the United States is very violent. You have maniacs running around in the street hurting people for no reason. For no reason. It's not targeted, it's senseless. That's violent. That's violence. So while maybe in the United States homicides might be down compared to Mexico, I don't know. At least the violence or the homicides in Mexico, it's more targeted. You don't hear about school shootings in Mexico, no mass mall shootings, senseless violence, people pushing people in front of cars, people pushing people in front of trains. No. What do you have mostly in Mexico? You have petty theft. I would take petty theft over random violent acts any day. So that's what he was saying. And many people will think he's out of his mind. No, he's right. He's right. Because I see it. You walk down the street, people are saying hi to you. So, don't get involved with illegal stuff, and you're probably going to be fine. Unless you're just an unfortunate
Wrong place, wrong time.
wrong place, wrong time statistic, which can happen anywhere in the world. We'll check those comments again.
Oh, what's this one? Oh,
Yeah, so we don't have any new comments, but that's okay.
okay.
I think you wanted to stay on for about an hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I talk about everything. Now the housing cost. Oh, something I want to talk about too. If you're coming to Mexico to look to buy a house, I would definitely say it's easier over here in Lakeside, if you don't speak the language, to buy a house. And I say that because, well, I want to give Wendy Howard a shout out. She's great. I think there needs to be more Wendy Howards over there because it can be very hard when you're trying to communicate, not even just communicate with the real estate agents, but even with them being reliable and dependable and not flaky with you.
Okay.
It's better here. I would say it's easier here.
Yeah. So like I said before, and like Brittany agreed, Lakeside is turnkey. If you just want to start a new life in Mexico, that's the place. There's no question. There's zero question. Just move there. Move to Lakeside, anywhere in Lakeside, and you're gonna have tons of English-speaking Mexicans, tons of English-speaking foreigners. You can buy a house like this. You can buy a car like this. You can do everything quick and easy. You go to Baja, you need to know certain people. So in Baja, we met a couple of great real estate agents who we did videos on.
Ron and Daryl.
Ron and Daryl, shout out to Ron and Daryl. But let me tell you something. If Ron and Daryl aren't working in the area that you want, or if perhaps, I don't know, they don't have the listing or whatever, you are at the mercy of terrible real estate agents. They suck. In fact, Ron said in the interview we did with him in that video, he said, the reason why I want to become a real estate agent is because I saw how bad the real estate agents were in the Rosarito and Ensenada, Tijuana area. So I believe him 100%. You come to Lakeside, however, you buy a house in a week. You buy a house in a week.
Yeah, he says like, oh, you can't buy a house in 3 months, like that. I think like you just.
Who said that?
Was it? I think it was Daryl. I said you can't buy a house. It wouldn't be that fast.
Well, that's
But you have to keep also in mind when you buy over there in Baja, you cannot just buy it like in central Mexico, and just buy the house. You have to go if you're not a Mexican citizen. You have to go through a bank trust. There's more paperwork involved. There's more steps involved. So versus here, it's a lot easier. You don't have to go through the fideicomiso. You don't have to go through this other paperwork and all this other stuff. It's more, there's paperwork of course, but I think it's more easier because you're not buying a beach property. When you buy on a beach property and you're in the restricted zone, then it's certain amount of miles from the border and the beach, the coastline, you have to go through more paperwork and it's a whole nother thing. So yes, you can own property there, but it's different. Like you're the beneficiary, I think, of your own property, from what it's been explained.
But don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
Brittany's telling you the fine detail. You don't need to know. As long as you have a good, reliable real estate agent, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
In any area, it doesn't matter if you need the bank trust over by the Baja. It doesn't
I'm saying it
matter.
might be quicker over here because it's just less steps.
It'll be quicker, but it doesn't matter. If you
Yeah.
have a good real estate agent, you'll be fine no matter where you are. But my point is, the real estate agents over in Baja, unless you're dealing with like Daryl and Ron, they all suck. Because trust me, we know. We've talked to them. We've been with them. They suck. They're terrible. Of course, I can't say that about everybody, but we spoke to a lot. And they're terrible, horrible, unreliable, have no clue what's going on. Like, I really appreciate Daryl and Ron and Wendy. Wendy's over in Lakeside. If you guys need a house in Lakeside, just go with Wendy. Make it easy on yourself. Go with Wendy. She handles everything. She does everything. And You'll have a friend for the rest of your life. Like, we still literally call. I'll never forget. We were on the street one time. We were over in Chapala, and we saw these people. They were Mexican people. It was a husband and a wife, and they were standing around, and they came up to us, and they said, do you know, they spoke in Spanish, but do you know of a place that we can find to sleep for a night? And we were like, I don't know. So we took out our phone, we found a building, we called, because they didn't have a cell phone, we called up a building that was right near us, because it said for rent, and it was like 11:30 at night, so, they weren't helping anybody. We called Wendy. Wendy told us where to send them. Who answers your phone at 11:30 at night? She's not getting no money from you, Wendy. She's not getting no money from you. She's getting nothing out of this. But when she heard that these two people needed a place to stay, she said, what's their price point? We said, oh, they only have 500 pesos. She said, send them over here. Wendy's the best. Wendy's the best. Don't even think about anybody else. You'd be crazy. Just go with the best. If you know, when something's not broken, you don't need to fix it. Just go with Wendy. Trust me. You'll be all right. If you're coming to the lakeside area, you're going to Baja, Ron, and Daryl. Those two people, man, such great people. Such great people. Excellent people.
Yeah.
But we're excited for all you guys. If you're not in Mexico yet, and if you are in Mexico, we're still excited for you.
And if you have been to these areas, please let us know in the comments before we close this video out. Did you like these areas? Which one did you prefer? Have you ever lived in these areas? Let us know in the comments so that we can help other people.
Yeah, every comment that you leave, like Skip leaves such great comments. So many people leave great comments. But every comment that you leave helps the next guy. Like, that's literally why we have this channel, to help you guys get a realistic idea of what to expect when moving to Mexico. So every comment that you leave and every question that you leave, it will literally help the next person. And that's how information gets shared. I mean, if it wasn't for like Tangerine Travels putting Mexico on the map, none of us would know anything about it, right? Like, I think all of us probably started off watching Tangerine Travels, like back when they were good. Like, no disrespect, but now they don't have a channel anymore anyway. So, I mean, I think once Maddie left, it kind of like, no disrespect, Jordan, but I feel like it changed a lot. And now the channel's no more, really. So, Tangerine Travels, back when they were putting out good content, it was amazing. And they totally helped all of us learn about Mexico. So shout out to the old Tangerine Travels, you know what I'm saying? But now that's what we're trying to do, is be there for you, giving you honest information.
In 2024.
In 2024, you know what I'm saying?
Mexico has changed.
Oh, Mexico's changed.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Oh, something else talking about that I want to talk about is that when you go to Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, one of the first things you notice is they take dollars. And the driver was like, oh, yeah, of course they take dollars. And you're thinking, oh, okay. That's the thing that's very interesting about Lakeside is that even though I would say this is a very Americanized, Canadianized, that's even a word, place, everything is in pesos, which I find to be very interesting considering how many foreigners there are in the area. When you go over there, maybe it's because you're close to the border, things are in dollars and pesos. Like whether you're buying a churro, you're going through a toll, you want to buy it, they'll take dollars. So that was different for sure. So I guess that could also be kind of a soft landing for you in case you don't have a big account and you're just coming for the week to check it out. You can use American money. They'll take it. They'll take the dollars. So
it's going to cost you more though.
It will cost more, but it can be convenient. Like for example, we've had people come and they were like, we don't have a bank account. Where are we gonna go get something? They only have the credit cards, So here, it's important in Lakeside to have pesos.
Turnkey. Lakeside is turnkey.
Get your pesos.
That's why people are coming here. That's why people love this area, because you don't need to know anything, like hardly anything. How did we get our bank? Wendy got us a bank account. Why? She knows the Gringo Bank. She knows, and it's a legitimate bank. It's not like, some fake bank that sometimes you got foreigners around Lakeside who have to use like fake banks. That I don't know why they're fake, but everybody calls them fake banks. Essentially, they can't get bank accounts. We can point you where to get a bank account. We've done videos on that if you want to check that out. But in other places in Mexico, it was a nightmare getting a
Very
bank account. Nightmare.
I could never recommend BBVA. They've just been horrible.
It's a nightmare even for Mexicans sometimes to get bank account. We were just talking to a Mexican guy the other day, and he said, "Oh yeah, it was hard for me to get a bank account, and I'm Mexican." I'm like, "Wow, that's crazy."
Yeah.
So it's wild, man. But it's been great. When I wake up every day, I feel like my life is good. You know what I'm saying?
Now, if we had to compare the centros, to which do I prefer? We spent a few days in Rosarito. We spent only one day in Tijuana, so we're not like total experts on Tijuana. We just saw like the touristic main things.
I loved it though.
But it was nice.
It was great.
The centro, I don't know if Tijuana had a centro. It was more like downtown area, I would say.
It was downtown.
I wasn't a huge fan of downtown. I thought it was kind of like not that pretty, put it nicely.
Tijuana is not a place you go to if you want pretty.
You go there if you want convenience as far as being close to the U.S. and if you want your American chains and you want to be, it's easy to get around. If you have the Uber, you have the combis, you have the bus, you have everything to get around. You can walk to things. It's very convenient. You have the beach. And
you got lots of English-speaking people in
Yeah.
Tijuana. Lots.
Yeah.
They're coming up to you happy to speak to you in English. They want to speak to you in English because they want your business. So they know English in Tijuana. Yeah.
Rosarito, they don't really have like a centro, but they have like a downtown area, which I did not really like because I felt like everybody was just trying to sell you something. It was kind of like in Puerto Vallarta when you go and they're just trying to sell you, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
It was like that, and it felt very touristic. And when we asked Abraham, our tour guide, what is it known for, he says it's a party town. So it's good if you want to like party. He did say there was like an out there part. I guess that was away from that. We didn't go see that, but apparently if you want to get away from that whole scene, you can go there. I can't really recommend it. We've never been there, but it does exist from what we've been told. I would also say like if you want to be like where there's action and things, like Tijuana, definitely go. If you want to go do things, Lakeside. We had a friend. He came here. And he's like, honestly, if I lived here, I would be bored. Because really, I don't want to say it's a retirement community, but really, there's a lot of retired people. There's not a lot of things going on here.
That's what it is.
It's just. It reminds me of Florida a little bit. Like, it's where retired people go.
Everything down to the golf carts.
They got everything.
They literally got golf carts riding around. Like, they turned Lakeside into Florida.
Yeah.
But, don't get me wrong though. Like, there's amazing stuff about it. Like I said, it's turnkey.
Yeah.
The food is good. The people are good. It's convenient. It's near a big city called Guadalajara, which is amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, something else I want to talk about too is Guadalajara has like the ethnic foods. Actually, Lakeside surprisingly does have Indian. It has Thai. It has Chinese. Very surprisingly for such small towns to have that. When we were in Ensenada, they had Asian. They did not have Thai. They didn't have Indian food. Rosarito, I believe, does have an Indian place. I have not been there. If you want like more ethnic foods, go to Tijuana if you're over there. That's where you're really gonna find the different cultures. And like our friend was telling us, you can find Haitian food, you can find this kind of food, Japanese, whatever. You can find it all there. And so, and then once you get there, you gotta decide: do I want to be in Tijuana? Do I want to be in Rosarito? Do I want to be in Ensenada?
I like Ensenada, man.
We went to Ensenada because it's more like a chill vibe. I wouldn't say it's boring. Though, because you could do things.
You think it's boring?
No, I want to say, some people might say, oh, is it boring or there's not much to do. There's things you can do there.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things, this is probably my favorite thing they have there, in the Centro for free, maybe you heard me talk about this in the video, they had this water show and the lights go up and it's just beautiful. We have not seen this anywhere else in Mexico at all. I've never seen a water show like this at all.
Oh man. So you go to the beach, the Centro in Ensenada Centro. You're right on the beach, right? The ocean's right there, and integrated into the Centro's ground, the cement there, in specified. You can see some videos on our channel about it because we put out some videos about it already. They got these light shows and this water shows, and you got families coming in and hanging out, and like they got kiddie shows, they got adult shows, they got like comedians there. They have all this. They're selling things. It's just so much action.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is we were the only foreigners there. Yeah. Makes me not want to tell anybody because it's like, I mean, no disrespect to the foreigners, right? But I don't want to be around foreigners necessarily. I want to be around just the Mexican people. Even though my Spanish sucks, I don't want to live in a touristic place.
Right.
And so we were the only foreigners there.
Yeah.
And so it was great. And so many families, so many activities over there.
Versus you go to like Rosarito, for example, you might see more Americans over there because they're coming from California, they're on vacation. We did see some Americans, but it was on the weekend. I think it was Memorial Day or something, like that kind of touristic holiday or something. So people were there in the Centro. But aside from like the Centro, we really didn't see Americans really that were living. Most of them that we saw were in the Centro, and some like to live in the out there part. When I call it it's been a minute since I've turned in you guys still in Mexico. You guys are looking good. I recently went to Quintana Roo, Cancun. There you go.
Oh, thank you so much for the comment.
Oh, how'd you like Cancun? We haven't been there.
Yeah, how'd you like Cancun, GQ? Hope everything's well, yeah. Yeah, we haven't seen you in a minute, but we haven't seen a lot of people in there because we just haven't been on.
Yeah. Yeah,
we've been busy.
So we got this Valera's annual pass, and we're looking to go into some exciting places, showing you guys some more of Mexico. So I think we'll do a video discussing what the Valera's annual pass versus the V pass, because they are two different things, and you can get confused maybe if you're not sure. So I think we'll do a video talking about that.
Yeah, Brittany knows all about it now.
So while we wait for GQ to respond to that, so the Centro, like if you go to like Ajijic, you go to Chapala, there's, I don't know, it's just a different vibe than as you go to like Ensenada. Like the Centros are very different.
Lakeside's prettier. Like if you want beauty, if you want to feel like you're almost in Hawaii, like a more dusty Hawaii, that's the lakeside area. Like when I was in Ensenada, I was like, the only real beauty to me, in my opinion, was the ocean.
I don't know about that. I think people say, oh, Ensenada's ugly, but I think it's beautiful. When you go to the wine country, it's gorgeous. You got these vineyards. You can see all these things. When you go to La Bufadora, and if you go to Ensenada, you have to go to La Bufadora. It's like the big thing there. You're going to do the La Bufadora thing. And they got the rocks and the waters and the stuff like that. Don't get ripped off there with the vendors, though. But, yeah, he says not. Joe's not really into touristy things. But do the La Bufadora. And also, I think the wine country is very pretty over there. And I think there was a spot where we pulled over and it was beautiful. I think Ensenada is a gorgeous place. I'm not saying the Centro is gorgeous, but I think when you go out, it was beautiful. It's just a different kind of beauty. When you're in Ajijic, for example, the flowers, everything, that'll feel more like Hawaii, like a tropical vibe. When you're in Ensenada, you don't feel like you're in a tropical vibe more, but I thought it was beautiful. Everybody's definition of beauty is different.
Yeah.
Some of us like the ocean. To be honest with you, Lake Chapala, the lake is drying up. I mean, it is what it is. You go over to Ensenada, you got an ocean over there, you know? People are going there, they're happy. I don't know, people, it's just different.
But you're not moving to Lakeside for the lake.
Well, a lot of people, that's the biggest lake in Mexico.
Okay, I know it's the biggest lake in America. But if you, I think you'd be crazy to move to an area because it has a lake. Like, guys, it's a lake. It's not a beach. You know what I'm saying?
It's very low.
So it's super low, but it's probably gonna come back. And if it doesn't come back, people still. You know what people do? They'll just build on it.
Again.
And that's okay. You know why? Because it's still a great town. Who cares if the lake's gone? I don't think I care about the lake I mean, certainly I don't want it to dry up. You know what I'm saying? I want Guadalajara to have water. That's where they get their water. That's why it's drying up, because Guadalajara is sucking the water out of the lake. But I mean, I want the lake to be here. But what I'm saying is, it still has a lot to offer besides the lake. Like, it straight up looks like Hawaii. You go to Ensenada, it looks like grunge. You know, like grunge. How do you define grunge? It looks more like concrete, broken up, kind of like, it's not Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? It's like a city. It's a city.
I liked it because I like the central area though, because I felt like you could walk to things. They had a Starbucks. I mean, there's just things you can do. It's just
I loved it, but I'm saying, like, if you're talking about aesthetically pretty, Lakeside is prettier, other than the fact that Ensenada has a beach. If you're not looking at the beach itself,
the beach is beautiful though.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
We drove down the coastline. When we first came, we drove down the coastline from Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, and the coastline is just beautiful. It's just breathtaking to see that I forgot the highway. It wasn't Highway 1, it was something else, but it was near Highway 1, right?
Yeah.
It was just so scenic and so beautiful. And actually, we pulled over to take a picture, and then these other foreigners came out. They're from different countries taking pictures. And it's just really, I thought it was really nice. The weather was great. I thought it was pretty. Not saying the center is pretty, but I think there are definitely beautiful places. We have a friend. She lives in a beautiful part. She lives in a beach house. Things like that. So the good thing about Ensenada, for example, is that you can live in the out there part, meaning you're not near Centro. If you want to be away from people, you can be away from people. You can have your own lot. You can buy a lot. You can be up on a hill. You can do that. Or if you want to be near what I would call civilization, you can do that as well. So it all depends on what you want. Cancun was great. Where is that?
We got another comment. GQ, Cancun was great. It was very touristy, and I didn't feel like I got the real authentic Mexican experience. Exactly. What are you doing? All right. It totally makes sense. We totally understand. The beaches were beautiful, and cenotes, the deep natural wells. Yeah, those are so cool. Like, you see those all over Instagram. Yeah, I mean, there's some great stuff about it, but you're not getting, like, it would be like coming to Lakeside and thinking you're in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? It's a polished version of Mexico,
like,
but it's cool though.
Yeah, like if you want the Mexican experience, I wouldn't say don't go to Cancun. If you want but if you want to go on vacation, go to Cancun.
Yeah.
But like, I forgot this man. I actually forgot what I was saying, but
You're talking about the beauty of Ensenada and all that. You got work.
Oh yeah. So, buddy.
Do you have work? No?
Not soon,
Okay.
Not soon.
So it's fine.
So, anybody have any more questions, or we're just gonna?
Yeah. Has anybody got any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that? It's been great seeing you guys, and we hope that this video helps to shed some light on some of the stuff that we're talking about. But if you guys don't have any other thoughts or anything like that, we'll just close out the live, and we'll see you guys on another day. We got tons of footage that we're working on editing. So I was literally working on that earlier today. It's one of the reasons I'm so tired. But we'll get that stuff out to you. It's going to talk to you about Ensenada. It's going to talk to you about Tijuana, Rosarito. It's going to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. We're gonna have some stuff out for you. And then we're going to be traveling throughout the year, going to different places now that we got that Valaris pass. Sorry, I'm just drawing a picture.
All right, I don't see any more questions, so I guess it's time to go.
All right, you guys.
If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.
Hey, Michael, you want to know how the tacos are, bro? Why don't you come over here and find out, man? Come on, bro. Come get some tacos, bro. Tacos are fantastic. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Be safe, and we'll catch you guys at another one, all right?
Hasta luego.
All right. Thank you for joining, everybody.